Sherwood from Australia. And
บอกมือเข้ามา
he is also a professor in Chinese University. เป็นอาจารย์สอนเรื่อง medical philosophy ค่ะให้กับคนที่เรียนการแพทย์แผนจีนแล้วก็การแพทย์แผนตะวันตกก็ไปเรียนอยู่ในมหาวิทยาลัยแล้วก็ทำหนังสือเล่มนี้ขึ้นมา
I'm very pleased to be here today. As I've been asked to talk about happiness in our life. And what interests me is how we can sometimes be happy and sometimes unhappy. Our emotions can change. Yesterday I was very happy because I was going to visit an old friend who was in hospital. And as I walked towards the door, I was feeling happy to see my old friend again. Within 1 minute of opening the door and walking in and seeing her in the last stages of cancer, tears ran down my face because I was suddenly unhappy to see her in that condition. So it's interesting how we can go from happy to unhappy and then come back to happy again. This morning at the hotel, I went for a swim and there was a big peacock. What's the word for peacock? A beautiful big bird, a beautiful colour, and it was it was so lovely to see the peacock, and I was happy again. I was actually happy last night. So the question is with our emotions, do our emotions, you know the word emotion, do our emotions control us, or do we control the emotions? And maybe we can talk about that for a short time. Would that suit you?
Yeah.
If we wish to understand happiness, it's important that we understand unhappiness and we understand the other emotions. Now the Chinese have an interesting philosophy about the emotions, and please excuse my drawing. I just did it a few minutes ago to make it easier for me to explain things to you. These are just words on paper to help you. And the Chinese have one emotion here called joy or happiness. And they say this is a very important emotion. And the Chinese say it relates to our heart energy. They also have another one which they call worry. You know, when we cannot sleep at night, things run around in our head and we worry about, oh, can we get some money to pay the bill? Will we be better tomorrow? Oh, will I finish this work today? We can worry about it. And so the Chinese say that the stomach and the spleen are the organs relating to worry. And then they have another one here called grief. When a friend dies, when our parents die, it is natural for us to be so sorry and to feel what in English we call grief. And this relates to our lungs, the lung energy. And then they have the emotion of fear. Fear where we are so afraid. And this relates to our kidneys and our bladder. And then they have the emotion of anger, which relates to our liver and our gallbladder. Now the Chinese say that it is natural for us to experience all of these emotions. The Chinese philosophy says it is natural to feel happiness, it's natural to worry about things, it's natural to feel grief, it's natural to fear, and it's natural to sometimes be angry. But the important thing is we must not get stuck in the negative emotion for too long. It's important that we control the emotion and that the emotion does not control us. Because there are some people who we know, I'm sure you know people where worry overwhelms them. They cannot stop worrying. Do you know people like that? People who keep worrying because their worry is controlling them. They are not controlling their worry. Grief is another one. Some people are so sad when a parent dies or a child dies that their grief, their sadness overcomes them. And they can spend the next 30 years of their life feeling sad. That's a waste of a life. But for them, they cannot control their sadness and they're tied up in their sadness. They cannot get out. It's the same as fear. It is natural fear. If we come to the busy highway in Bangkok and we have to cross the road, it is a good idea to have a little bit of fear. Otherwise you would walk out in front of the car and you would be dead in 5 seconds. So it's natural to have a little bit of fear of fast motor car on the streets of Bangkok. But just a little bit and then get rid of it. But some people have so much fear, it binds them up. And they can't do anything with their life. They fear everything. They fear success. They fear failure. They fear losing things. They fear everything. And their life is dominated by the emotion of fear. Anger. Are there angry people in Bangkok? Are there some people who are angry all the while? Well, we have some in Australia. The Chinese say it's the liver energy out of control, the liver fire. The fire in the liver coming up and being angry. Angry people talk angry, act angry. They walk looking angry as well. So the important thing for the philosophical discussion, the interesting point is, if the Chinese are right, that it is natural for these emotions to emerge in our life, okay, are we capable of controlling the emotions, or are we stuck with the emotions we get? Of course, I understand that some of you are into meditation. And of course, meditation is a wonderful way of controlling our emotions. Now, I've just got words on the page so that it'll make it easier. And I've got a line there. An American philosopher came up with a simple saying that when this philosopher looked at all of the emotions, he thought for American people, what was holding them back was the emotion of fear. And he came up with a simple statement. Love is letting go of fear. Now, the word love, L-O-V-E in English, love, usually we think of coming from our heart. There are many kinds of love, and it's important to understand. I believe it's important to understand the many kinds of love. For example, I've met people on this trip, like this woman here, who loves her king. So we have one kind of love, the love for our king. We have a different kind of love, our love for our parents. Maybe the love for our children is close, but maybe a little bit different. A love for a brother or a sister. In fact, the city of Philadelphia in America, the word Philadelphia means city of brotherly love. It's a lovely name. So, another kind of love. I see two men there talking to each other. They're sitting close, and there's probably some love between these two men, as it is with this woman and another woman. And it's natural for us to love each other. But some people are incapable of love, and they want to keep it away. They want to stop love coming towards them. Whereas other people are open and inviting and welcome love. Now, to be balanced in our life and to have good health, another philosopher, and I'm just grabbing things from philosophers here. It is said that if we want to look at our health, then there are three parts of our health that need to be in balance. They need to be okay. And I've got them here in a triangle. On the left-hand side, we have the physical body. The physical body. The muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, the blood vessels, the nerves, the lymph, and all the other bits that make us up. If that's working well, usually we can have good health, providing the others are okay. On the other side, we have the mental and the mental stroke emotional. Because we can have a fit and strong body, but if our emotions, our mental capacity or our emotional capacity is affected by something in our life, then we may not have a very healthy life. And of course, at the bottom, we have the spiritual part of life. Now, you would know more than me about the spiritual part of life. And whenever I talk around the world, people have different aspects, different understandings of the spirit and the spiritual life. So I'm not going to go into detail of that because I don't understand it. I know that it's a very personal thing. It's a personal thing that people have about their spiritual life. And if we have a good spiritual life, then that is also something that keep us healthy. But it seems to me, quite because I don't understand everything about the spiritual life, I think I see it in people in the way they live their life. Are they people who are happy to give their time freely to others? Like this lady here, and the other ladies I've met on this trip. Wonderful people. They give their time freely to help other people. Today. Today is about happiness by giving to others. So people who are interested in this are usually spiritually advanced people. So we need these things to be in balance for us to have good health. So why is it that we don't have good health? I've drawn a straight line there from here to here. It's just a straight line to represent the perfect life we could live when we are born. From the time we are conceived to the time our physical body dies. Our perfect line is probably represented by a straight line. It doesn't mean it is a straight line, I'm just saying it's represented by the straight line. But because we're probably not as perfect as we want to be, our lives go in all sorts of directions. So the windy line suggests we sometimes go off and do silly things, or we do stupid things, it's just life. They're life experiences. And then we end up where we were going to end up anywhere, maybe. But along the way, as we go through this life, things happen to us which can injure us. They can injure us on the physical, the mental, emotional, or the spiritual level. And I've just marked on the thing, as the person goes through life, things can happen. So, what kind of things are they? We could be... I did something with a university here 2 years ago, and I was saddened to hear that each year more than 20 students of that university are killed in motorcycle accident, which was very sad that they would lose so many every year. But for every one that dies, there are many who survive. So if you survive a motorbike accident, your physical body will have broken bones with metal plates holding it together. So our physical body, as we go through life, can be affected. Excuse me. But the doctors can do a great job at putting the body back together, usually very well. But probably more important is the mental emotional. Because things can happen to us in our life that can really affect us. It could be that as we are a child, we might get suddenly, something fearful could happen to us. I remember when I was about this high, I was walking in the suburb where I lived, beside a house. Everybody lived in houses there, lots of green grass. And I was walking beside a fence, feeling very happy, and suddenly on the other side of the wire fence was a big dog which came running down, and the first thing I knew was when the dog was this far from my head, wow! And I got such a fear that for many years I was fearful of dogs because I was so small and the dog looked so big and vicious. And if I don't overcome that, I might carry that fear through my life. In the West, in places like Australia, many people, in many places in the world, women are discriminated against. Things happen against women. This can be sexual assault, discrimination in the workplace, discrimination at school. So, but it can happen to males as well. So those kinds of things can affect our capacity to live. We'll be emotionally and mentally affected by such a thing happening. Sometimes we're physically affected by those things as well. So as we go through life, our physical body can be harmed, our mental, emotional health can be harmed as well. And when we are all mature people in this room. There's no one here under 21. We're all over 21, I think. And at this stage of our life, to be in good health, most of us are carrying some physical thing. Maybe we're carrying some mental, emotional thing. Maybe some spiritual thing. So can we do anything about it? The answer is yes, we can. We can, if we have something with our body, maybe we need to fix it. For example, for many years my hip was very sore. And I kept travelling around the world looking for a cure. And when I would come to your country, I was walking like this. I couldn't walk very far, only about 50 metres. And I kept looking for a solution, a natural solution. And in the end, I knew what was wrong. I knew the cartilage was gone and the bone was hitting the bone and that was causing the pain. But I was hoping for a natural solution. In the end, last year, I had the surgery, got a new hip, and now I can walk. I can walk 20 kilometres, walk up steps. So I took the decision to fix my hip. But some people won't do that. Some people would rather keep their physical ailment. Some people don't want to lose the symptom. They don't want to lose the pain. Let's think about that for a moment. Why is it, or do you believe it? Do you believe it's true that some people don't want to give up their physical pain? Do you think that's possible? Can you understand what I'm saying? Some people want to keep their physical pain. Or do you disagree and say, no, nobody would want to keep physical pain? It's an interesting philosophical point though, isn't it? And I suggest to you that sometimes the rewards of having physical pain are so great that some people don't want to give it up. For example, if you have physical pain, people say, oh, you poor thing. Oh, you poor thing. What can we do for you? Can I do your shopping? Can I help you? Can I wash your car? Can I do something for you? You're a lovely person. So by being a person with pain, sometimes the reward is so good, you know that, excuse me, that's possible. Do you think that's, you nodded, you thought it was possible. So these are interesting things, that people would rather keep their pain and they drag themselves through life because people are nice to them. It seems silly, but that is life.
เข้าใจประเด็นเขาเปล่านะคือเขาบอกว่าคนเราโดยทั่วไปเรารู้สึกว่าเป็นธรรมชาติของมนุษย์เนี่ยนะไม่ต้องการที่จะมีความเจ็บปวดนะทีนี้บางทีสำหรับชาวพุทธของเราเนี่ยบางทีมันตรงนี้เราอาจจะไม่จับประเด็นไม่ค่อยจะได้สักหน่อยนึงเพราะชาวพุทธโดยเฉพาะยิ่งภาษาไทยเรามีคำว่าทุกข์พระพุทธเจ้าสอนว่าเกิดมามีทุกข์นะเพราะนั้นทางพระองค์มาสอนทางพ้นทุกข์ใช่ไหมแล้วบังเอิญทุกข์เนี่ยภาษาไทยเนี่ยมันกำปวมภาษาอังกฤษมันมี2คำคือ pain กับ suffering ใช่ไหมตรงนี้เราต้องกลับไปเรียนตรงนี้ได้นะเพราะฉะนั้นแต่ทีนี้เมื่อเขาใช้ภาษาอังกฤษเนี่ยเขาจึงจะมีปัญหาว่ามันจริงใช่คนเราเนี่ยเกิดมาเนี่ยเราต้องการจะพ้นทุกข์นะและทางพ้นทุกข์ไปอย่างหมดสิ้นเลยคือนิพพานใช่ไหมนะพ้นทุกข์ตรงนั้นแต่ทุกข์ตรงนั้นน่ะมันคือ suffering เกิดมาเราไม่ต้องการ suffering หรอกแต่ว่าพอเขาใช้คำว่าที่ภาษาอังกฤษมันมีคำว่า pain นะที่ pain มันเหมือน suffering ไหมนะคนเราต้องการจะพ้น พ้น suffering ใช่ต้องการพ้น suffering เพื่อไปสู่นิพพานแต่ว่าถ้าถามว่าถ้าคนเราต้องการจะพ้นเพนเสมอไปไหมเขาว่าไม่แน่คนเราบางทีต้องการจะรักษาเพนเอาไว้เพราะการที่เขามีเพนนะเขามีความสุขกับการที่มีเพนเห็นไหมเพราะฉะนั้นเพนมันไม่ใช่ตรงข้ามกันกับ happiness suffering มันตรงข้ามกับ happiness ใช่ไหมแต่พอเพนเนี่ยเพราะอะไรเพราะบางทีเรารู้สึกเรามีความเจ็บปวดอะไรต่างๆเนี่ยเรามีความสุขเพราะเรายอมรับความเจ็บปวดเนี่ยเพื่ออะไรบางอย่างใช่ไหมอย่างเขายกตัวอย่างของเขาก็คือบางทีเรารู้สึกว่าเรามีความเจ็บปวดเนี่ยคนดูแลเราครอบรอบข้างเขาเลยเอาใจเราแล้วเรามีความสุขกับการที่มีคนเอาใจเราเลยยอมรับที่จะมีความเจ็บปวดอันนั้นใช่ไหมแต่อันนี้ต้องแยกนะเขาบางทีเขาไม่ใช่คนไทยบางทีเขาไม่เข้าใจประเด็นของเรานะแล้วพระพุทธเจ้าสอนไม่ให้เราพ้นทุกข์แล้วเราบอกว่าถ้าแปลว่าเพนคือทุกข์มันก็เราจะไม่เข้าใจนะแต่เพนเนี่ยกับซัฟเฟอริ่งมันต่างกันI explain to them because the Thai people we have only one word for pain and suffering and the Buddha told them that we have in our life we have suffering we have to get rid of you have to get away from the suffering to go to Nibbana that is the idea of life but I explain to them that you use the word pain not suffering sometimes pain is not suffering we may have pain at the same time we are happy with the pain but suffering not that is for the Buddhists that important to distinguish so I explain to them otherwise they get confused
Thank you
you
very
understand
much.
my point
Yes, thank you.
okay did you so just give this way and explain to them that pain is not always suffering
No, that's right.
we can have pain and happiness at the same time
Yes.
but suffering not
Oh, very good. That's very good. Very good. Yeah. So if you decide you've had enough of your pain, you've had enough of that, but you're happy with it, but you've had enough of this, then you have a big job. How do you fix it? Because sometimes if you go to a good hospital and get good doctor, maybe that's good, but maybe not for everyone. Maybe some people have to go somewhere else. Maybe they have to go and look for for example, I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner in Australia. So we do acupuncture or Chinese herb. In Thailand, you have beautiful Thai massage, Thai herbal medicine. The Khon Kaen University does some good work with Thai medicine. I've been up there and seen their work. So the trick is to find, when you have a physical problem, you've got to find the right practitioner, the right doctor, to help you at the right time. Now, for example, this lady here may have a child, and the child might have a physical problem, or she might have a husband with a physical problem. And she might say to the husband, I found this good doctor for you. Come with me to the doctor. Well, she may want the husband to be fixed, but the husband may not. So healing will occur usually when it's the right doctor or the right practitioner with the right patient at the right time. And so there can be a big search to find the right doctor. Sometimes it's very difficult to find that. In relation to the physical, the mental and the emotional problems, we need to help with those. And this is where probably the real suffering occurs. Maybe not, but maybe our professor can help us with this. The real suffering can sometimes come from the emotions and the mind, as well as the spirit. But how do we do something about that? And I think in Thailand, Buddhist people have meditation, which I think is a wonderful way of getting in control of those things. But that's something we can talk about on another time when we have more time. The last line I have over here, I've just got some simple words that say, and we might need to translate. So, some people, as they go through life, see everything as problem. Big problem. Oh, the bus is 2 minutes late. Oh, big problem. Oh, the train is 3 minutes late. Oh, big problem. The ferry, oh, look, it's 1 minute late. Big problem. And so But for us, we think, oh, that's little thing. But for some people, that's big thing. Some people see everything in their life as a problem. If it's not perfect, it's a problem. But I think Buddhist people, and you please tell me if I'm wrong, I think Buddhist people would see that it's not a problem. These things are not problems. They're just opportunities to learn something new. So for people who don't do meditation, if we can teach them to just have this simple thought and ask themselves a question every time they think they have a problem. Is this a real problem? Or is this an opportunity given to me to learn something new? That's a very good question. I think Buddhist people have an advantage because your meditation is always about opportunity, not about problem.
Okay, let me explain to this นอกจากคำเพลงนะก็มีคำหนึ่งที่เขาบอกว่าคนน้อยจะเข้าใจผิดใช่ไหมแล้วบางคนก็คล้ายๆกับมองในโลกในแง่มองโลกในแง่ร้ายนะเพราะฉะนั้นก็เกิดคำภาษาอังกฤษคือคำว่า problem ใช่ไหมนะมองไปทางไหนทางนั้นมันมีแต่ problem ทั้งนั้นเลยคือปัญหาใช่ไหมและปัญหานั้นเขาก็เขียนว่านั่นน่ะคือ suffering ใช่ไหมความทุกข์ของเขาใช่ไหมแม้เรื่องเล็กๆน้อยๆก็เป็นปัญหาที่ทำให้ชีวิตเขามีแต่ทุกข์เรื่อยๆไปแต่เขาบอกว่านะปัญหาก็เหมือนกันมันไม่ใช่เป็นของที่มันจะต้องเป็น suffering เสมอไปแต่ถ้าเรามองในอีกแง่หนึ่งนะว่าปัญหานั่นแหละโอกาสให้เราได้เป็นโอกาสให้เราได้ทำดีโอกาสให้เราได้พัฒนาใช่ไหมที่จริงเป็นของดีปัญหาจริงๆปัญหาถ้าเราคิดว่าปัญหามันไม่ใช่เป็นทุกข์แต่มันเป็นทางให้เราได้แก้มันพอแก้แล้วมันก็เป็นความสุขของเราเพราะฉะนั้นปัญหาไม่ใช่ของเลวแต่สำนวนอย่างนี้นะที่เขาจะอธิบายแล้วเขาบอกว่าที่สุดแล้วสาเหตุของทุกข์อยู่ตรงไหนจริงๆแล้วไม่ใช่อยู่ที่ร่างกายของเราที่มันเกิดความเจ็บปวดอันนั้นไม่ใช่เป็น suffering จริงๆแล้วก็ไม่ใช่สิ่งภายนอกที่มันทำให้เกิดปัญหานะแต่ว่าปัญหาไอ้ suffering จริงๆมันอยู่ในหัวของเราสมองของเราไปมองว่า pain เป็น suffering มันก็เป็นถ้ามองว่า pain เนี่ยเป็นโอกาสให้เราได้ทำดีอะไรบางอย่างมันก็กลายเป็นความดีแต่ไม่เป็นความสุขได้ pain เป็นความสุขได้ปัญหาเหมือนกันถ้าเรามองเป็นปัญหาเพราะว่าอยู่ที่สมองของเราอยู่ที่ปัญญาของเราเนี่ยนะอยู่ถ้าเราไปคิดว่าปัญหาเนี่ยคือความทุกข์มันก็เป็นความทุกข์ถ้าเรามองปัญหาเนี่ยเป็นโอกาสที่เราทำดีมันก็เป็นความสุขโอเคนี่ไปมองอย่างเขาดูที่ใจไหม
I'm sure I do.
Okay. I have to explain to them now you explain that in the same way as the pain not always the cause of suffering. It depends on your mind to understand it. You understand the pain as the source of happiness. You can be happy. In the same way, the problem also. If you think the problem is suffering. But you think it is the chance to do good. It is a good thing. Okay, then yes, you want to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on.
So,
yes, now they understand you now. Okay.
So, in conclusion then, although the Chinese have broken up the emotions into the 5 different groups, we have a choice. We have a choice of being stuck in happiness or sadness, with grief or with fear or anger or worry. This is another one. Do you believe that we have a choice? That we can choose to go from one to the other? There is another one I'd like to do about happiness, if I can. Let's suppose that here, this is happiness, this is total happiness. And over here, on a straight line, we have total unhappiness. This is just a thought I have about happiness. But in the middle here, unhappiness that side, and happiness this way. The further you go, the further unhappy you are. The further you go, the further happy you are. And it seems that most people are not here the whole time, in total happiness. Most people aren't here. But some people might be. And some people are over here in total unhappiness. These people have a mental problem called depression. Okay? So when you're over this end, you have the mental state, the mental problem. You usually have the mental problem of depression. Depressed people are over here. So in the middle, but it seems to me that if we stand in the middle, it's natural on occasion, like yesterday for me when I saw my friend in the final stage of cancer, with her body shriveled down so small, the face changed. I haven't seen her for a year. And I was so sad that I went from happiness to sadness and cried when I saw her, and I had to cover up my tears so she wouldn't see them. So I went to this side for a while, to unhappiness. But then I came back to happiness again. So I think it's natural for us to be on both sides. But I think we probably spend most of our time there to here, where, or maybe in the middle, where we don't even know if we're unhappy or whether we're happy. We're sort of in the middle, floating around. But if we spend more time on that side, then we have a problem, and that's probably that's where the suffering is. The suffering's on that side. We need to be spending more time on this side of the equation to be away from the suffering. Now, I was asked today to prepare something for 30 minutes, and I think I've done that. If you would like to keep talking, if you would like to ask questions on anything, we can do that if it's suitable. I'm in your hands as to what you suggest we do now. Thank you.
ค่ะเรื่องที่คุณปีเตอร์เชอร์วูดพูดนะคะคือเป็นการรักษาโรคมะเร็งใช่ไหมคะไม่ใช่ทุกอย่างใช่ไหมคะแล้วก็คือรักษาทั้งทางด้านร่างกายแล้วก็จิตใจนะคะคือรักษาไปพร้อมกันแล้วก็ที่เขาเน้นนะคือเป็นเน้นในเรื่องของจิตใจนะคะใช่ไหมคะทีนี้แล้วเขาก็
ชัดเจนก็คือเขาต้องการจะเน้นรักษาจิตใจเพื่อให้จิตใจมารักษาร่างกาย
ค่ะคือใจเป็นนาย
และเขาก็บอกให้ทำใจว่าเขาไม่ได้ตั้งใจรักษาร่างกายโดยตรงถ้าบังเอิญมันมีผลทางร่างกายก็ถือว่าโชคดีถ้าไม่ได้ก็แล้วไปเพราะว่ามันไม่ได้นะแต่ขอให้มีจิตใจดีอันนั้นที่นะแล้วก็ไอ้ร่างกายมันก็จะตามมาเองแต่ว่าไม่ใช่เสมอนะก็แล้วแต่ว่าสภาพร่างกายเป็นไงหรือพูดตามพุทธศาสนาก็คือหมายความว่าแล้วแต่กรรมเก่าของเรานะถ้ากรรมเก่าดีมาก็จะมีผลช่วยถ้าหากว่ากรรมเก่ามันหมดมันไงมันก็หมดเหมือนตะเกียงมันหมดน้ำมันแล้วจะใส่ไส้ตะเกียงเข้าไปกี่สายมันก็ลุกไม่ไหวอยู่นั่นใช่ไหมก็เนี่ยก็คล้ายๆกับอย่างนั้นโอเค